12 rounds, ding ding, sick and tired of the
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Post Fight Live. Not live, I'm only kidding. We are in the South China Morning Post Towers at Causeway Bay's famous Times Square. I'm Nick Atkin with your co-host, Chris Edwards-Bailey. Chris, what's up, man?
I'm absolutely good. How's it going?
Yeah, very good, very good. Apart from a few things on the weekend, the rugby final of the World Cup not going
Very
well for us.
disappointing for
we won't
us,
talk about that. We're here to talk about
Yeah.
UFC 244, which of course also ended in a bit of a disappointing way, I think. Let's dive right into that doctor decision calling off Nate Diaz against Jorge Masvidal. How did you think? What did you think of that?
Of the doctor stoppage?
Yeah,
It's one of them. It goes both ways. I think New York Commission has a reputation for always being a bit harsh when it comes to the rules. It wasn't the biggest cut I've ever seen, but then I wasn't there. You don't really get any explanation from the medical officer or the doctors on site, so you don't really know. But the way the fight was going, I only saw it going one way anyway.
yeah. We'll get to the fight in a minute, but in terms of the stoppage, fourth round hadn't started yet. In between rounds, doctor looked at Nate's eye, had a massive cut right above here and one below as well, which was opened up in the first round from a pretty vicious head kick, which wobbled Nate and he went down. And then George eventually let him stand back up. But the cut, the doctor, who I've got his name here, he had an interview with MMA Fighting, and he's told them, he's getting abuse online, getting threats to his, not just himself, his staff. People are calling his office. Aren't MMA fans the worst? Huh?
Well, we can be.
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain. I was angry with the stoppage, and everyone in the bar I was in watching it, they were all angry. I think in the heat of the moment, you paid your money, especially in the audience, you paid a lot of money to watch that pay-per-view in the US, $50. It's understandable people are angry, but have a listen to what he said. I'm a very good neurologist and a very good doctor, and calling me effing scum online and calling my office staff and yelling at them, threatening me, I fear for my health and safety. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's probably going to be me this time. Yeah.
We are a classy bunch, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, that's despicable. I won't stand for that. But I understand people being upset at the result of the fight. I think if it would have been in Las Vegas or California, I think they might have let it go on a little bit longer. I mean, in Japan, they would have just let it go on anyway.
Well, that's what Nate said. He said, I had the same cut for the Anthony Pettis fight, and that was in Anaheim, California, right, in August. And you do see a comparison of the pictures floating around on Twitter. It does look very similar. And Nate says, you sneeze on me, I bleed. It's true, isn't it? Nate always gets cut. He's got a lot of scar tissue. It was inevitable.
Would you think there was any effect that they wanted to keep the event somewhat presidential?
Well, what, as in they don't want...
Well, with Trump being there, do you think they wanted to keep it a little bit more classy and be a bit more strict? And the commission, not the UFC.
Trump's favourite film is Bloodsport, I'm pretty sure. He literally said that once. He used to watch it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, he loves his fights. He's a fight fan. He used to go... Dana was saying afterwards that he used to come and watch the early UFC shows at the Meadowlands, and when he ran his Taj Mahal.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Trump. I think it's more the commission. Yeah. The New York Commission is definitely a little bit...
Well, this doctor, he also told MMA Fighting, I had to make a tough call. The moment I lose my objectivity and I'm concerned how my actions are viewed by the UFC, by the fans, by the media, then I cease to be a ringside doctor and I cease to be doing my job. Yeah. True?
I think so. That's his job, isn't he? Is the doctor. The doctor has to do what's best for his patient. So, I mean, even if he has to ruin the whole event, he should do what he thinks best.
In a worst-case scenario, Diaz goes out there and gets messed up, lifelong damage maybe. Yeah. The doctor's then going to be blamed for that. So it's
and you never know. He could be seeing bone. We don't really know.
It's tough to say. But as you were talking, the fight was going only one way, I thought. George was piecing him up. I think that second round was a 10-8 on at least two of the judges' scorecards. So there's no way Nate was coming back unless he got a submission, I thought.
Yeah, I think that was his only chance. And even then, Masvidal was very good on the ground.
He dealt with
everything that Nate had to give me. Look bigger, stronger, fitter. I mean, Nate's had one fight in the last 3 years. So maybe we're all kidding ourselves into thinking he was a BMF.
I don't doubt his BMF credentials.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't say it to his face.
Yeah. And Nate, he's a great character. But he blamed he had an injury to his knee, so he couldn't get his running in before the fight, which affected his cardio. And he said, I was going to come back in the 4th and the 5th rounds. You think he was just making excuses?
I mean, judging by the way he's fought his whole career, he is that kind of fighter who will come back in the 4th and the 5th. He has a great gas tank, great cardio. But I mean, I've never seen someone laugh while getting punched in the face like Masvidal. I mean,
that was
the
funny.
spinning elbows, laughing in his face. I mean, Masvidal did show he is a BMF.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Masvidal was the clear winner. Dana White saw it the same way. He said Masvidal looked very dominant. And Dana's not interested in the rematch.
Yep.
Dana, I think, wants to move Masvidal onto bigger and better things. I think they see him as the new guy.
I enjoyed this event. I thought it was good. I thought the spectacle was good.
Yeah.
I want to see Masvidal move on to bigger and better things. I think Usman Colby coming up. I think he has to fight the winner of that. I'm a big Usman fan, but I'm kind of rooting for Colby so we can get the Colby-Masvidal ATT feud. We can get that big storyline.
The trash talk would be good, though.
Yeah, I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the cards fall with that. Anything else? Any other fights you see from Masvidal other than that?
I don't really see anything that big. I think he should just wait out for a title now. He has to wait at least until that title fight's done.
He's calling out Canelo afterwards.
Yeah, I know. I'm done with MMA fighters calling out boxing. Stick to your sport. Stay to your lane.
No one wants to see that.
Yeah.
He already beat Canelo in the ratings war, or the pay-per-view war on Saturday. UFC crushed Canelo's fight against the Crusher, Kovalev, who they even waited until the main event of UFC was over before they put on the Canelo fight, which is crazy when you think about where boxing has fallen and where UFC in particular has risen.
Yeah, and it also adds to the Dana White Oscar De La Hoya feud, which
I don't think I can repeat anything Dana said about Oscar afterwards. Two of the less awful words were scumbag and snake.
Yeah.
A-hole was used. Really effing weird.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on that?
I mean, the Kovalev fight, it was... Everyone thought Canelo was going to win. Canelo won. He's been protected. He's the golden boy of boxing. Las Vegas lives off his money. I mean, it totally makes sense that this massive show with The Rock, with 3 great fights on the card, a great undercard, the way it's going, it just makes sense, the way the sport is going and how it's opening up. I mean, it had the president in attendance. I can't remember the last time there was a president in a boxing match. Yeah.
Presidents have been to NBA before and baseball, never to UFC.
No.
It's kind of cool for the sport. Dana White was saying that. It is cool in a way that the president of the United States is going to that.
Yeah.
In one way, it gives some, I don't know, some exposure and some importance to the event.
Yeah, that's it. And also it will be beamed around the world, which is also a big thing. You know, in a lot of other places in Africa and the Middle East, it will get big traction. Just the fact Trump is there and bring eyes to the sport.
Trump was there, but I was more excited for The Rock. As a fan of wrestling, especially as a kid, I think Masvidal was, The Rock was one of Masvidal's idols.
They're both from Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Masvidal called it, and eventually it turned out that The Rock was the one that's going to put the belt on Masvidal. Cool moment. Love the entrance. So a bit of something extra. I always think these events are better when you have that razzmatazz. I'd like to see some pyro at the UFC.
Well, I like the whole. I like this. I can smell what The Rock is cooking. I like the entrance. I liked him walking in with the belt. I think he added some gravitas to everything. I didn't like it when he was talking about the Mark Kerr documentary he's gonna do and stuff like this.
I didn't even see his announcement. Is that what it was?
Yeah, he announced that he's doing a Mark Kerr documentary. And
what's that?
Mark Kerr, the old fighter who fought in Pride in the UFC and went broke. Mark Kerr, sorry, wrestler and it was just seemed a bit odd and just seemed like the fan base they were appealing to with the BMF fight. I think as much for the younger generation of MMA fans, and I think a lot of them don't even know who Mark Kerr is. No.
Dude, I didn't.
So there we go.
I thought he was going to say, "I'm getting in the cage."
Yeah, that would have been a
Tyson
dream.
Fury. Let's do it.
Yes,
that would be funny.
What do you think is next for Diaz?
Tom Taylor, shout out, a contributor to SCMP Martial Arts. He's done 5 fights that need to be made next, and his fight for Diaz was Dustin Poirier.
Okay,
like that?
I like it, but I don't know if Poirier is too high a level. I think
would take that though.
I think a good fight for Nate Diaz, if you want good trash talk, make a lot of money.
Story there though.
Potential retirement fight, him versus Askren. The loser walks, the winner talks.
Maybe.
I feel like they could antagonize each other.
I don't think Askren needs to reset everything and start a bit lower. Nate only wants this Masvidal rematch, though. He says he'll sit out another 3 years if he has to. But I think Poirier is one he'd take because they had a little bit of trash talk before the fight was eventually pulled last year from Madison Square Garden. They've been going back and forth a bit on Instagram, or Nick Diaz was doing it on Nate's behalf after Dustin called Nate out, when he tested positive. There's an inbuilt storyline there. I think that's perfect, for March, April. When's Dustin back? He's had a hip surgery or something?
Yeah. Probably March, April.
I'd take that.
Yeah, I could see it. The thing is, as well, with that cut for Diaz, sometimes it can take up to a year for a cut if it's really deep, because you've got to get stitches put inside the cut as well. So that could take up to a year, because you don't get that and allow it to properly heal with a good plastic surgery, it will just reopen again.
Dana said he'd get some plastic surgery, I think.
Yeah. I think.
Well, maybe Diaz takes a year off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the cut, but
I'd like to see that fight again, run it back, but I think it'd be better as Masvidal
I think
potentially
move on
with the
from
belt.
that,
And then if Masvidal gets the belt off Colby or Usman, give it first defense to Nate.
Yeah.
We all want to see it.
Yeah.
There's a lingering question, isn't
Would
there?
that be 2 straps on the line then, the belt and the BMF?
Well, this is why I love the BMF, because forever they keep saying it's one and done, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be fans all following the lineal BMF champion forever. Whoever, if ever Masvidal loses again, that new person becomes by default the BMF, and I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he retires with it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a hard back to the old days of the Super Fight Championship and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of other good fights on this card. Let's get into it. Middleweight co-main event. Kelvin Gastelum v. Darren Till. Your boy. Yes. Did he make you feel a little bit better after England lost the Rugby World Cup final? Your boy
definitely brought
Darren
back some
in.
British pride.
Let me just say that
it
was a decision, 3 rounds, split decision, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because one judge, strangely, scored it 30-27 for Gastelum, which was, to my mind, absolutely weird.
Yeah, well, I would have had it 30-27 to Till, maybe 29-28. I thought Till definitely won the first and the last round.
Yeah.
I thought he controlled the fight. I thought Gastelum didn't know how to get past him. He pretty much, in the first round, let Gastelum take him down so he could see how good his defense was. And that's what really impressed me about Till. He looks better at this weight. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. I thought his cage control of Gastelum was better. Really, that fight, we deserved a 5-round fight. I think the way it was going, and the 3rd round was the most exciting. I'd love to see them go back and do that again in a year or a year and a half's time, and have that as a main event for 5 rounds.
Darren Till, entertaining as always on the mic afterwards.
Very emotional.
Yeah, I enjoyed his promo in the octagon, and he said some touching things about how he was scared to actually walk out, and he thought at the last minute about faking an injury. It's been a tough year for him, hasn't it, after Masvidal knocked him out?
Well, if you lose 3 in a row, it can change the trajectory of your career quite a lot. Getting this win back up, he's right back up there in the rankings, super high.
Yeah. What now for Till? He said, no way, Romero.
Yeah, he doesn't want Yoel. I mean, the world's really his oyster at that weight. I think he's better to go get another win or 2 more wins before starting to look at the title picture. I think he should just build his name, build his brand in that weight division, get used to because as well, if he fights more wrestlers, the wrestling will get harder, because obviously they've got more weight to throw around, the striking's bigger, you're more likely to get knocked out. So you have got to adapt to that big 15-pound weight jump.
Well, he proved the doubters wrong. I was one of them.
Yeah.
I thought Kelvin Gastelum was going to knock him out. What now for Kelvin? That's back-to-back losses.
Yeah, it's an odd place for Kelvin to be in, really, but he's still round about top 5 in his division, and it's one of those divisions where the middleweight picture is starting to look a little bit clearer, a little bit more open, and just with people moving up to light heavy, some people moving up from welterweight, the division's kind of in flux right now, and I don't see any real clear path.
And Costa's out injured for 8 months.
Yeah, which is a shame.
We shall see what happens.
Yeah.
There were even more good fights.
Yeah.
Stephen Thompson.
Luque, good fight.
Yeah, it was
very technical fight.
Unanimous decision.
Yeah.
No messing about this one. I agreed completely. You did as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think judges got spot
Spot
on.
on, yeah.
Very technical fight. Maybe the casual fan didn't like it. I certainly enjoyed it. Sometimes I do forget how good Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is.
I think we all do after that Pettis knockout, but that's an elite fighter, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Pettis, who hit him with that great shot, 1 in a million. I mean, Thompson beat Masvidal
Yeah.
before Masvidal went on this run.
Yeah.
I know you can say it's a different Masvidal. He went away for a year, he changed some tools, he got his mind set. But yeah, Luque was a real up-and-comer, I thought, and Thompson completely put the brakes on him.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he controlled him with the range, strength. I mean, always Stephen Thompson is just one of the most special talents just because he's so unique in the UFC. That wide karate stance, quick striking, in and out movement. So he is always a massive challenge to anyone.
And just an all-round good dude.
Yeah, he has. He's just got some charisma
Nicest
about him.
guy
Hasn't
in
he?
MMA, I think.
Yeah. I just want to see him get a few more big fights because he's getting towards his late 30s now, and I don't see him continuing that much longer.
I think he put himself back in the mix, definitely. Maybe one win away. He said Masvidal's my inspiration. You know, Masvidal's won 3 in a row, and now he's maybe going to get the next title shot.
Yeah.
Also, Derek Lewis v. Blagoy Ivanov, another decision. Lewis getting this one. It could have gone either way, I thought.
For me, I thought Lewis just dominated a bit more in the exchanges. Just when I watched it back the second time, some of the punches you saw Lewis flying in with, he was catching him on the chin. And this Bulgarian guy, I don't know what they make chins out of in Bulgaria, but it was...
Yeah.
You watched it in slow-mo. He was taking full-on hits on the chin, on the face, on the temple, and he just kept walking towards him. And I think almost anyone else in the division would be out.
Blagoy was closer to finishing it in terms of on the ground.
Yeah, on the ground, I think he did have an advantage, but I just
I
thought
thought it was over there.
Lewis just dominated with the strikes.
Yeah, well, Lewis...
He looks much fitter.
he's very svelte.
Yeah.
I think he's got the cardio going a bit better
A
now.
lot thinner in his face. Maybe he's not eating too much Popeyes anymore.
Also gave a shout out to Trump.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting. Everyone's allowed their own political opinion.
Yeah.
We don't discriminate here.
We do not.
Yeah.
Anyone can have their political views.
Yeah.
He was very entertaining, as always, on the mic.
Yeah.
I can't repeat what he said.
What do you see next for Derek Lewis?
I don't know. I don't think he gets a title shot, and he's been convincingly beaten by by Daniel Cormier.
Yes.
He's been convincingly beaten by Daniel Cormier, who was convincingly beaten by Stipe, and Cormier's getting the next shot at Stipe. So Lewis is in purgatory slightly.
Yeah.
You could do that Francis fight again, but that was horrendous.
Yeah.
So
You could have Greg Hardy. He has beef with Greg Hardy. They don't get on. He's called him out a few times. So I don't know if he... I mean, they'll stand and bang with each other, but I don't know if Derek Lewis is too high a level, too high a striker, too high a boxer for Greg Hardy at this point in his career.
he's in the mix.
Yeah.
He's always in the mix, but I see Stipe doing the same thing DC did to him if they fight.
Yeah. I just think with Derek Lewis, he is almost the gatekeeper of the heavyweights.
It's not a bad place to be, is it?
No, it's not a bad place. The money's pretty good up there. And I mean, in most divisions, if you're a gatekeeper, you're ranked 10th to 15th. Because the heavyweight is a bit old in the tooth and we're still waiting for these young guys to come through, the gatekeeper's ranked about 5th or 6th in the division, which, I mean, if Derek Lewis wins 2 or 3 fights, I mean, he's got to be there for a title shot because
if you're
there's
a
not that many
gatekeeper as
people
well,
above him. Yeah.
you get on these cards, you get on these big cards, Dana gives you a payday, you get on the pay-per-views. It's not a bad spot to be.
Yeah.
He'll get plenty more big fights. Knockout of the night. First fight on the main card. Kevin Lee sent Gregor Gillespie into another dimension, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
It was a first round knockout, 2:47, under 3 minutes.
I would say that this was the fight of the night for me. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal from Kevin Lee. I think it was a lesson in everything you should not be doing in the ring against Kevin Lee by Gregor Gillespie. I mean, national champion wrestler, and you go out there with a guy who's great wrestler, but probably a better striker than you, and try and outstrike him for the whole 2 minutes and 47s you were fighting him.
There was an audible gasp in the bar I was watching when Gillespie got hit with the left kick to the head. I think
It's a nasty knockout.
Kevin stopped him up first with a right hand, which kind of wobbled him a bit, and then boom, the combo. He flew off his feet into the cage, and Kevin got another left hand away before the ref could even get there. What a statement from Kevin Lee on your re-debut in this lightweight division.
He looks reborn, re-nurtured. He just looks bigger, stronger. Everything about him looks better. He's always been just on the cusp of greatness. I mean, everyone always says it, that he's one of those fighters who probably can give Khabib the most troubles because he's got good wrestling, good takedown defense. He's got probably better striking than Khabib. He has everything to beat him, but he just seems can't not be able to get everything together. And the 2 losses against Alaya Quinn to really hurt his record, I think.
Well, is this for us, Sahabi's work?
Yeah, I think it is. I think he's just taken him to another level. What did you think of his ingrowing hair? It looked like staph to me.
I didn't. What? Tell me about this one.
Well, he claimed, everyone was saying on Instagram, Twitter, all the social media that it looks like the scar that he had on his body looks like staph infection, which he suffered from before. And he came out afterwards and said, no, it's just an ingrown hair. But as someone who's done a bit of jiu-jitsu and seen the odd staph infection, I would say it looks like a staph infection.
Well, some of us were busy working, Chris. I was too busy watching this. Anyway, we got to wrap up UFC 244, but there's one fight we have to mention, on the undercard. It was Johnny Walker losing to Corey Anderson. Huge upset, I thought, light heavyweight. Corey Anderson, very angry last week, came in, knocked him out in the first round, and then got in his face, got in Johnny Walker's, the team's face, and then had a pop at Dana White, demanded a title shot, John Jones. Dana said no. Do you think he deserved a shot?
I don't think he does, but I think Johnny Walker was very close to one. I think it just shows that Johnny Walker's probably 1 or 2 years away from fighting someone John Jones' caliber. Problem is the division was kind of relying on Johnny Walker, because we do need someone to challenge John Jones because he's like sleepwalking through his last 3 fights. He has had no challenge, he's had no wars. It's a division that's similar to the DJ problem they used to have, where there's one fighter so dominant, there's no one really exciting we can put him up against. And Johnny Walker was supposed to be that guy. He has that one-punch knockout power, great striking, but we saw him today, saw him on the weekend, and Corey Anderson just dealt with him easily. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I think Dominic Reyes is probably in line ahead of Corey Anderson first.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, we will be back next week. If you like this video, please subscribe to SCMP Martial Arts. Hit the like button, leave us a comment. I am Nick Atkin. You can get me on Nico SCMP on Twitter.
Chris Edwards Bailey. At Chris Edwards-Bailey. That's my Twitter. Hit me up anytime. We can talk fight, whatever.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll see you next week to talk about them all. Cheers.
Have a good one, guys.
12 rounds, ding, ding. Sick and tired of the whole damn thing, yeah. Stick a move.